Have you ever looked across your local marina and noticed something strange? A lot of boats just sitting there, sails not hoisted, race marks gathering dust in the shed, and that weekend regatta you remember from 10 years ago? Yeah, it's down to 5 boats and a half hearted awards ceremony at the Yacht Club bar. So, what's going on? Well, it's not just you. Sailboat racing in the US is in real trouble. I will admit I am part of the problem. I used to race a lot, several times a week. I raced growing up at a local lake. I raced in college. I crewed on boats a few times a week after college. Fast forward to now, I haven't done a real race in 7 or 8 years, and I don't have much interest in getting out there. Today, we're diving into why this beloved sport is declining, what it means for the future of sailing, and most importantly, what could we actually do to save it. Let's zoom out for a second. Back in the 1970s and 80s, sailing was booming. There were millions of sailors, literally. Sailboat racing wasn't just a niche sport for yacht clubs, it was something middle-class families did for fun. There were thousands of active fleets across the country. It wasn't unusual for a weekend regatta to draw 40 boats or more in a single class. One-design fleets were everywhere from single-handed boats up to keel boats. All of them drew big numbers for participation. Fast forward to now. We're down to around 3.5 million total recreational sailors in the US, and only a fraction of them are active racers. Local race fleets have shrunk, one-design classes have disappeared from harbors. How many active laser or J24 fleets are there now? Is there any double-hander in the US with any kind of draw? Many regattas that were once the heart of a yacht club's summer calendar have either been canceled or merged with catch-all events just to fill a start line. And look, this isn't just a temporary slump, it's a multi-decade trend. The average sailor is older, the boats are older, and the newcomers, they're fewer and farther between. In short, sailing overall is on decline, but racing is flatlining in bad need of a shock to the system. Let's talk about cost. Sailing has never been the cheapest hobby, but it used to be surprisingly attainable. Take a Catalina 27 for example. In the 1980s, you could buy a brand new one for around $15,000. That's about $55,000 in today's dollars. Not pocket change, but doable for a working family. Now fast forward to today. A modern 27-foot racer like the Beneteau First 27, you're looking at over $110,000 just for the base boat. That doesn't include sails, gears, a trailer, or any of the upgrades you'll want for serious racing. And another $20 to $50K for a regatta-ready boat. And what about sails? Back in the 80s, a full set of race sails for your Catalina might run $2,500, maybe $7,500 in $2,025. Today, a comparable set of sails for a modern boat will run $10,000 or more, especially if you go with high-tech laminates or racing foils. And those sails, you'll probably need to replace them every 2 to 3 seasons to stay competitive. Want to keep your boat in a marina? They used to cost $1 per foot per month. Today, it's more like $12 to $15 per foot per month in many places. That's $4,000 or more per year just to tie your boat to the dock. Add in insurance, maintenance, entry fees, bottom cleaning, beer for the crew after the race, and that number keeps going up and up. It's not just a boat anymore, it's a lifestyle subscription, and for many people that price tag is just too high. Despite the high price of new boats, the US is filled with a massive inventory of older sailboats, especially from the 1970s and 80s. Boats like the Catalina 22, J24, Pearson 30, and Erickson 27 were built in huge numbers, and they're still out there. You can find some of them for under $10,000 ready to sail or almost. So in theory, this should make sailboat racing more accessible, right? In reality, it's not that simple. Many of these boats are 40 years old, and just because they float doesn't mean they're ready to race. Chain plates may be corroded, rigging might be original, the sails are probably stretched out like grandma's yoga pants, and here's the worst part. Some of these boats are unsafe if you push them hard on a windy race course without serious updates or upgrades. Sure, they are good for putzing around and day sailing, but pushing them on a high wind day is a recipe for a broken boat. So even if you buy a $5,000 boat, you might need to spend another $15 to $25 on repair, sails, and gears just to be competitive and safe. That turns a cheap boat into a major project, and while restoring an old classic can be deeply satisfying, it's also intimidating and time-consuming. New racers often don't have the time, skills, or tools to deal with a serious sailboat refurb project. So what happens? They don't race, or worse, they never even start. Let's talk demographics. Sailing, and especially racing, is getting older, like Medicare card older. The average age of many yacht club members is now over 60. In the 1960s, that number was in the 30s. Baby boomers built modern recreational sailing, but now a lot of them are aging out of the sport, selling their boats, moving ashore, and simply slowing down. And the problem is, younger generations aren't replacing them. Sure, junior sailing is strong, high school and college teams are full of bright young sailors, but after graduation, they vanish. There's no bridge between dinghy sailing and keelboat ownership. And asking a 25-year-old fresh out of college to buy a broken down 1983 J30 and refurbish it is not a recipe for success. That's a tough sell. They probably can't find a good condition boat they can afford. They don't have the skills to fix it. They can't afford the marina fees and upkeep with all their other expenses, such as student loans and housing. Where are the adult dinghy classes these days? There are small pockets around where a club might have 5 to 10 lightnings or thistles. They are few and far between. Most require an expensive yacht club membership to participate. I started racing at a small state park lake in Pennsylvania that had sunfish, thistles, and a catch-all handicap fleet. Cost to race was under $100 a year. Where are the places like that today? In this area, it's a couple $1,000s a year to join a yacht club, plus another $1,000 to dry store the boat there just to race a small trailer sailor. Now let's say you do find a boat, you fix it up, you show up to your first regatta. What do you find? A fleet full of experienced sailors with brand new sails, slick hulls, experienced crew, and race prep gear. There's a good chance they've been sailing together for 20 years on the same boat. You're just hoping to make it around the course without hitting another boat. In many places, sailboat racing has become hyper-competitive even at the local level. The same guys keep racing without much influx of new racers, so the skill gap from the beginners to the average boat out racing has become large. The professionalization of amateur fleets has made it hard for new racers to feel like they belong. Even fun beer can races can feel like America's Cup trials. That's not welcoming, that's intimidating. And if people don't feel welcome, guess what? They don't come back. Meanwhile, over in the rest of the boating world, it's booming. Jet skis, wakeboarding, paddleboarding, kayaking, foiling, surfing, kiting. You don't need a race prep, clean bottom, or a perf rating to participate in these. You don't need to find a 3 to 4 person crew who will show up every week and who also needs to learn how to sail. All of these activities are growing because they're easy to learn, relatively affordable, and fun right away. They're easy to do with a lot of excitement. If you're short on time and need to get the most bang for your buck in time, they offer a much better deal than sailboat racing. You just go. That's the kind of freedom modern recreational users are looking for. And sailboat racing, with its rules, prep time, and steep learning curve, it's a struggle to compete. Yacht clubs across the country are seeing it. Where they once had 50 boat fleets, they now get 10. Where they had multiple classes, they now run mixed fleet starts just to fill the course. The boats have gotten older, the sailors have gotten older, and they're starting to disappear in large numbers. Regattas have been canceled due to low interest. Fleet captains are begging for volunteers, and the only boats that still show up, they are 40-year-old boats sailed by the same 10 guys who've been showing up since the Reagan administration. When the older sailors retire and move on, who's left? Here's one last big reason why sailboat racing is dying. We stopped making it fun. I do not race my boat regularly. I like the social part of racing, but I don't enjoy the racing part of racing. It takes a lot of effort to find crew that will commit to showing up every week. You have to spend a lot of time on boat prep and rig tuning to be competitive. Once you're out on the course, there's always way too competitive guy that thinks he's racing a professional circuit during Wednesday night beer can racing. Heaven forbid you meet this guy at a tight mark rounding or get close to them at the start. You need to get a perf rating and all the politics that go into that. If you get a bad rating, no amount of race prep or experience will put you at the top of the fleet. Add to that, you need to do committee boats some night and all the stress that can go into that. Is sailboat racing a relaxing time? No. Is it a good way to burn off stress after work? Not really. The bar for the race is, but not the race itself. I have more fun going and finding a few friends and just going out for a sail without the racing part. We forget that not everyone wants to win the regatta. Not everyone is willing to spend the money for a full set of carbon sails. Not everyone is hyper competitive and treating beer can racing like it's the America's Cup. Some people just want to feel the wind, make it around the course, and watch the other boats sail and share a beer on the dock after the race. We made it too serious, too expensive, too hard to join. But here's the hopeful part. It doesn't have to stay this way. Some clubs and communities are starting to flip the script. They're running fun races using pursuit starts where the boats start at different times and finish together, making the racing feel closer. And you don't have the intimidation of a start line with all the boats grouped up. There's no committee boat, no real start and finish line, no recording finishes. Get together at a bar or pavilion afterwards. Give t-shirts or flags for the people who participate in enough races. Just going out to sail together. Let the perf guys have their rating politics and sail buying arms race. Let the rest of us just go out and sail for fun. I don't participate in many regular races anymore. I did do a Friday night fun race series like this last year and really enjoyed it. It makes a great time for bringing non-sailing guests on the boat because they get to see other boats up close and it feels exciting to them. It makes a good stepping stone up to perf racing or Series 1 design after you get used to sailing in a fleet of boats. Sailboat racing is dying, but it doesn't have to. If you're a club officer, simplify things, make racing fun and easy again. If you own a boat, invite someone new on board, let them drive or do something other than just be rail meat. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about flags, it's about stories. It's about watching the sunset as you cross the line. It's about being on the water and people you like. Let's bring that back. Thanks for watching. If you love sailing or want to help keep it alive, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Do you still race? What's the vibe at your club? And what's one thing you think could bring sailboat racing back? Until next time, fair winds, and I'll see you out in the water.